And there was in more recent times, a century ago, a famous example of that where there's like one or two or three comets that appeared around 1911 and 1912, and that was the end of the Chinese dynasty and the beginning of the Chinese Revolution, right?
Here we're talking about the 1910, two comet.
1910.
One is Halley's comet, and one is called uh, Great Daylight Comet 1910.
Hmm.
One appear, I think, a Great Daylight Comet appear in January, and the Halley's appear a little bit later, around, if I remember correctly, around April, maybe I'm wrong. But the two comet, one after another. One is like during that time, not only China, I think in the Western world, we start to believe that the comet can bring the toxic gas, and a lot of people prepare like an anti-comet hat, anti-comet pill. And then in China, yes, that does related to what we believe the modern revolution of a new China coming up, leading by the revolution like Dr. Sun Yat-sen, who was considered as the father of the modern China. So he was leading the revolution. I think the big there is a lot. I think the revolution was begin even before 1910, but the most important year, it was 2011, one after another revolution, one after another. Eventually, I think the Puyi was, I think, removed from his throne around 1912.
Okay.
Yes.
And that was the end of like the last imperial dynasty in China that had started way back. Well, that dynasty started way back in the 1600s, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so sometimes, can coincide with really major events, and that seems to sort of fulfill some of the traditional interpretations of comets to a certain extent in China. So it's interesting that it culminated with that. And then um yeah, the one we keep talking about from last year, from October of 2024, Tunshin Atlas, and how I noted how that coincided with the US presidential election and just the massive changes that are now taking place over the course of the past several months here as a result of that, seems relevant to some extent as well, even though that comet wasn't necessarily like a great comet in the sense of, Hale-Bopp
Mm.
or Halley's Comet or something like that.